When laying eggs, it stays on the spiritual plant. After the eggs hatch, the larvae rely on absorbing the vitality of the spiritual plant to grow. When the vitality of the spiritual plant is almost depleted, they will automatically leave and find the next target. Solution: only cultivators at the third level of Qi refining who excel in offensive spells can successfully deal with the adult budworms. The eggs and larvae are extremely difficult for low-level cultivators to detect unless their spiritual awareness is keen. Due to the small size of the larvae and their connection to the spiritual plants, it is easy to damage the plants while dealing with them. Therefore, profound mastery of certain specific spells and precise control is required to resolve the issue. Lu Xian closed the book, deep in thought. To avoid damaging the invaded spiritual plants, the spells used must meet two conditions. First, they need to have sufficient killing power. And second, the damage range must be controllable. Due to his humble background and his cultivation only reaching the second level of Qi refining, he currently only mastered two low-level spells. One was the Spirit Rain technique primarily used for nurturing spiritual plants, and the other was the Fireball technique used for self-defense. However, he was only proficient in these two spells and couldn't achieve precise control. Moreover, these two spells didn't seem to meet the requirements as specific spells for clearing black budworm larvae. In the early stage, the Spirit Rain technique could only provide moisture to the spiritual plants. Lu Xian estimated that if he used a spell, the budworm larvae would not be harmed at all. Instead, they would become more excited. As for the Fireball technique, although it had enough killing power, using a fireball would result in both the spirit firefly grass and the budworm larvae being destroyed. It seems that I have to seek help in the market and spend some money to resolve this problem. Fortunately, I can address the issue specifically, saving some resources. Lu Xian touched the slightly withered cloth bag at his waist and sighed softly. Lu Xiaoxiong, are you home? A knocking sound came from the door, and a loud voice came from outside the courtyard. Immediately after, a gray-black grass rope slid from the corner of the courtyard and lightly tapped Lu Xian's knee. It was the grass puppet that stayed in the courtyard, sensing someone about to intrude into the spiritual field and warning Lu Xian. You should have spoken up when they were outside the door for a while. If there were any ill intentions, our house could have been robbed before you even reacted. Lu Xian looked at the retracting gray-black grass rope and couldn't help but support his forehead. The voice sounded familiar. One of the few cultivators that Lu Xian knew after he transmigrated. Here, Brother Zhang, he responded and went to the entrance of the courtyard. Opening the gate, a tall and simple-looking cultivator walked in. His name was Zhang Hong, a cultivator at the third level of Qi refining. He lived next to Lu Xian and had a second-level Qi refining cultivator as his Dao companion. They had a 6 or 7-year-old child. When Lu Xian first arrived, Zhang Hong had given him a lot of guidance, saving him from many detours. Brother Zhang, please come inside and have a cup of hot tea. Lu Xian led Zhang Hong into the house. Zhang Hong glanced at the flourishing spirit fireflies and moon-devouring fruits on both sides of the cobblestone path and nodded. Lu Xiaoxiong, you're taking good care of these two types of spiritual plants. It seems that there will be a good harvest in a while. It's just a so-so. It can't compare to the spiritual plants in your family's spiritual field. Brother Zhang. After Zhang Hong took a seat, Lu Xian brewed a cup of hot tea for him. In the teacup, 2 or 3 tender green tea leaves floated and spun around. Zhang Hong didn't mind. He knew about Lu Xian's cultivation level and family background. Being able to have a cup of tea with spiritual tea was already quite courteous. It's indeed Qingyu tea. Drinking it feels like being nourished by a light drizzle. Something that can only be experienced here with you. Lu Xiaoxiong. At home, my wife doesn't allow anything like this. It's boring. Zhang Hong savored the effect of the spiritual tea. closed his eyes and shook his head. He couldn't help but pat his thigh.